I'm Mike Buzzy. I'm the founder of Eastwind Healthcare, where it's our purpose to help as many people as possible be as healthy as possible. We do this through natural means, focusing primarily on lifestyle to help you function at as high a level as you possibly can. I've got extensive experience. I'm trained in traditional Chinese medicine, in functional medicine, in exercise physiology, and I've got nearly 35 years of experience in wellness. The video that you're about to watch is about healthcare in crisis and the health of individuals in this country in crisis. It's got great information in it that we believe will be helpful to you. Please watch it. Thank you so much for your time. We have a healthcare crisis in this country in both the individuals who live here and society as a whole. As a country, we spend $3.5 trillion on healthcare last year. There are 320 million people in the United States. So when you do the math, that's approximately $11,000 per person per year. For the average family, that is $28,000. The average household income is $54,000. Thus, 53% of the income a family makes goes toward healthcare. What is our return on this investment? First in money spent on healthcare in the world. First in money spent on pharmaceuticals in the world. 48th in life expectancy. The bottom line is that these results are unacceptable, and the system is unsustainable. In order to understand why this is, one needs to look at the origins of Western medicine. Remember, what we were suffering from in the 1600s, 1700s and such were infectious microbial diseases. Smallpox was rampant in the 1600s, yellow fever in the 1700s, cholera in the 1800s, Spanish flu in the early 1900s, polio in the mid-1900s, and there were diseases like dysentery. These diseases took a toll on human lives. People were dying from these things. Western medicine proposed to cure these illnesses, and it did so through antibiotic therapy. This was quite heroic, and antibiotic therapy proved to be very, very successful. Antibiotic drugs, antimicrobial drugs, antiviral drugs changed medicine. They proved to be very effective in treating these diseases, and this model was expanded to other things. However, there was decreasing effectiveness in these other areas. However, when we look at the types of diseases we have today, they are not infectious diseases. And this idea of using drugs doesn't work as effectively in curing functional conditions. What are functional conditions? They're the types of conditions we have nowadays, like high blood pressure, like heart disease and cerebrovascular disease, like diabetes, like arthritis and metabolic disorders. These types of diseases are functional in that they do not put us on our deathbed, they do not threaten our lives in the short term, but they do cause problems in the long term and will threaten and shorten our lives in the long run. Let's take an example of a typical male. At age 30, he goes to his doctor for a well visit, is what we're calling them now. And at age 30, the doctor says he's doing pretty well, but he's a few pounds overweight, maybe 5 to 10 pounds overweight. 5 years later, he has another checkup, and it turns out his blood pressure is up a bit, so the doctor prescribes an antihypertensive. By age 40, his cholesterol is creeping up, so the doctor prescribes a statin drug to control his cholesterol. By age 45, his blood pressure is not so well controlled anymore, so they add a second blood pressure medication. By age 50, he's had a bout of gout and is now taking allopurinol. By age 55, he's got some GERD. By age 60, he's got diabetes. And by age 65, he's taking 8 medications to control his chronic conditions. Clearly, The antibiotic type of approach is not effective in treating these chronic illnesses because you've got 8 drugs by the time you're 65 years old, and actually that is typical. Let's take another example. This time let's do a female. This female is 48 years old. She goes to her doctor and complains that she's been feeling anxious lately. She's got no energy. She sleeps poorly. She has panic attacks now and again. She has brain fog, muscle pain, and her hair is falling out. The doctor runs some lab tests and finds out that her thyroid is a bit off and diagnoses her with Hashimoto's thyroiditis. He prescribes levothyroxine, which is the most commonly prescribed drug in the United States. Her symptoms, however, continue. She goes back to the doctor with further complaints. The doctor runs more labs and says, no, your thyroid is good. Therefore, there must be something else kind of going on here, but we don't find anything. So the woman is presumed to be depressed and given an antidepressant. She continues to have muscle pain and complains about that. So she's diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So after a period of time, this person has tried cyclobenzaprine, amitriptyline, gabapentin, Lyrica, Cymbalta, Prozac, fluoxetine, Effexor, Prozac is fluoxetine, Effexor, Paxil, and Zoloft, and still feels crappy. Clearly, this doesn't work. But why doesn't this work? And the answer to that is the drugs are assigned to symptoms. They're merely treating symptoms. Nothing is getting at the actual cause of the problem. Now, we believe there are 4 causes to all diseases. The first of which is trauma, and trauma is injury that happens to human beings at various points throughout their life. Sometimes we recover fully from the trauma, other times we do not, and we carry that unresolved trauma with us indefinitely. Next, we have stress. Stress is a natural response that helps us survive. When we are overstressed, however, we get into a hormonal imbalance and can have several problems as a result of the hormonal imbalance. Thirdly, there is toxicity. We live in a very toxic environment. There are some 82,000 chemicals which have been approved by the FDA. Most of those chemicals are detrimental, if not completely toxic, to human beings. And finally, there's poor nutrition. Poor nutrition comes in many forms. One is that we do not get the proper nutrients we need. Secondly, we get things that we don't need, which could be considered toxic. And thirdly, there are things called anti-nutrients, which actually work against us and block quality in food and good nutrition from achieving what it needs to achieve. We take a different approach. The approach that we take is called functional medicine. Functional medicine looks at all of the symptoms that a person has. In addition, we run functional tests to determine the underlying cause. So the combination of symptoms taken together and the tests help us to understand the underlying cause. The other thing is that we incorporate both treatment modalities such as acupuncture, such as dietary supplements, Chinese herbal medicine, vitamins, minerals, and so on, as well as lifestyle. Ultimately, lifestyle needs to be adjusted if we're going to correct the underlying cause, and we do spend a fair amount of time and energy on that. This is what leads to health and causes the correction of underlying problems and the curing of functional disorders. We incorporate a 5-pillar approach in the care that we provide. The first pillar is the digestive system. We want to make sure that your digestion is functioning like it's supposed to. The first order of business is to detoxify you and then to re-inoculate you with the good bacteria that are necessary to have a functional digestive system. The second thing is the nervous system and the brain. We want to make sure that your nervous system and brain are functioning properly. And there are nutritional things that you can do, diet things that you can do, and lifestyle factors that are helpful to support your nervous system and quality brain function. The third thing is stress and hormone balancing. The fourth is proper nutrition. And the fifth is exercise. And exercise and proper nutrition are individual based on the person's body type and physiologic makeup. Overall, we provide an individualized program that helps people to be healthy. If you would like more information, contact us at Eastwind Healthcare at 920-997-0511 or www.acupunctureappleton.com. We have offices in Appleton and Fond du Lac to serve you.